Rob Reiner and Michele Singer Reiner suddenly found themselves at the center of one of the most disturbing and emotionally charged celebrity rumor storms in recent memory, as online headlines, viral videos, and social media posts falsely claimed that tragedy had struck the legendary filmmaker and his wife, sending shockwaves through Hollywood fans, longtime movie lovers, and casual viewers alike who were desperately searching for answers and clarity amid the growing chaos. What made this situation especially unsettling was how quickly it unfolded and how real it felt. It didn't arrive with one clear announcement or a single viral post. Instead, it crept in quietly, almost invisibly, through vague phrases like sad news, heartbreaking update, and cause of death revealed, casually attached to Rob Reiner's name. These phrases were carefully chosen, emotionally loaded, and intentionally unclear. Within hours, they multiplied across platforms that reward speed, shock, and clicks far more than truth or responsibility. Thumbnails showed somber black and white photos, slowed down footage, and serious facial expressions. Dramatic background music played softly, almost mournfully. Narrators lowered their voices, speaking in hushed, emotional tones that strongly implied something terrible had happened, while skillfully avoiding any direct statement that could be fact-checked. And for many viewers, that implication alone was enough to spark panic. Searches for Rob Reiner skyrocketed, comment sections flooded with disbelief, fear, and grief. Fans asked one another if the news was real. Some begged for confirmation. Others wrote messages of gratitude and sorrow, thanking Rob Reiner for a lifetime of unforgettable films. A number of people began posting goodbye messages, convinced they had missed a major announcement. Clips from Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, and When Harry Met Sally began circulating as tributes, shared under the assumption that they were honoring a life that had already ended. But none of it was real. The truth, plain and undeniable, is that Rob Reiner is alive. Michele Singer Reiner is alive. There was no death, no emergency announcement, no confirmed illness, no hospital admission, and no statement from family or representatives. What people were reacting to was not a tragedy, but a carefully constructed illusion, one built entirely on suggestion, emotional manipulation, and the modern internet's endless appetite for sensationalism. To understand why this rumor hit so hard, you have to understand who Rob Reiner is and what he represents. Rob Reiner is not just a recognizable name or a familiar face. He's deeply woven into the fabric of American pop culture. Born on March 6, 1947, he grew up surrounded by comedy and creativity as the son of Carl Reiner, one of the most respected comedic minds in entertainment history. But rather than relying on his famous last name, Rob Reiner carved out a powerful legacy entirely his own. Millions of viewers first met him as Michael "Meathead" Stivic on All in the Family, a role that placed him at the center of some of the most important social and political conversations ever aired on television. At a time when sitcoms were expected to be light and unchallenging, that show tackled racism, generational conflict, war, and ideology head-on. Rob Reiner's character became a symbol of a changing America, and his performance made him a household name. But his greatest impact came when he stepped behind the camera. As a director, Rob Reiner delivered an extraordinary run of films that helped define entire genres. Stand By Me captured the raw innocence and heartbreak of childhood friendship. The Princess Bride became a timeless fantasy filled with humor, romance, and adventure that continues to be passed down through generations. When Harry Met Sally reshaped the romantic comedy, turning it into something honest, funny, and deeply human. Misery showed his ability to create terrifying psychological tension, while A Few Good Men gave the world one of the most iconic courtroom confrontations in film history. These films didn't just succeed at the box office, they became emotional landmarks in people's lives. They are quoted at weddings, watched during holidays, and revisited during moments of nostalgia. They are comfort films, formative films, and cultural touchstones. So when Rob Reiner's name is suddenly linked to death, the reaction isn't casual curiosity, it's personal. For many people, it feels like losing a piece of their own history. Michele Singer Reiner, while far less visible in the public eye, has been an essential part of Rob Reiner's life for decades. A former photographer and dedicated activist, Michele has committed much of her life to causes involving public health, social justice, and civic engagement. She has worked both alongside and behind the scenes, supporting initiatives she believes in without seeking fame or attention. Married since 1989, Rob and Michele Reiner have often been seen as a rare example of longevity and stability in Hollywood. In an industry known for fast romances and public breakups, their relationship stood out for its privacy, consistency, and mutual respect. They built a life together away from constant tabloid drama, which made the sudden rumors of tragedy feel even more jarring. Ironically, that stability is part of why the rumor felt believable to some people. In a media environment where celebrity deaths are announced almost weekly, often suddenly and without warning, audiences have been conditioned to expect the worst. Add a familiar name, a dramatic tone, and the suggestion of breaking news, and many viewers don't pause to question what they're seeing. This is how modern celebrity death hoaxes are born. Unlike rumors of the past, which spread slowly through gossip columns or tabloid covers, today's misinformation travels at algorithmic speed. One misleading video inspires 10 more. One ambiguous headline gets copied, reposted, and slightly reworded dozens of times. Each version adds a little more drama, a little more emotion, stacking tension on top of tension until fiction begins to feel like established fact. What makes these hoaxes especially dangerous is that they rarely rely on outright lies. Instead, they rely on implication. Phrases like "fans are devastated," "Hollywood mourns," or "the truth finally comes out" create a full narrative without ever providing verifiable details. Viewers, driven by emotion, fill in the blanks themselves, often assuming the worst before checking the facts. In Rob Reiner's case, the rumor fed off several factors at once: his age, his outspoken political presence, and the public's general anxiety about losing beloved figures from earlier generations. Some posts even recycled old interviews, photos, or clips from past events, stripping them of context to suggest declining health or impending tragedy. None of it was true, but it was convincing enough to keep spreading. As the rumor gained traction, confusion turned into frustration and anger. Fans began demanding explanations. Some accused major media outlets of hiding information. Others lashed out at creators for exploiting fear and grief. And yet, despite the backlash, the false content continued to circulate, proving how difficult it is to stop misinformation once it takes hold. What often gets overlooked in situations like this is the real human impact. Being falsely declared dead is not harmless. Friends, colleagues, and family members receive frantic messages asking if it's true. Loved ones are forced into the uncomfortable position of reassuring people that they are, in fact, alive. For the individuals targeted, it can feel invasive, unsettling, and deeply distressing to watch strangers mourn a death that never happened. Rob Reiner has continued to appear publicly, speak openly on issues he cares about, and engage with the world exactly as he always has. There has been no disappearance, no emergency hospitalization, no sign of crisis. Michele Singer Reiner likewise remains active in her work and her life. The supposed silence that some rumor peddlers pointed to simply never existed. It was invented to sustain a false narrative. Yet the rumor lingered, revealing a deeper and more troubling issue within digital culture: the erosion of trust. When audiences are repeatedly exposed to exaggerated or false stories, it becomes harder to separate reality from fiction. Real tragedies risk being dismissed as rumors, while fake ones are mourned as truth. This pattern has become so common that many viewers now experience a strange emotional whiplash, grieving first and verifying later. And that brief delay, even if it lasts only minutes or hours, is enough for misinformation to cause real emotional harm. Rob Reiner's case serves as a powerful reminder of how easily legacies can be distorted in the digital age. A man whose career was built on storytelling, empathy, and authenticity became the subject of a story that lacked all three. Instead of celebrating his ongoing influence and continued presence, parts of the internet rushed to prematurely write his ending. There is no cause of death to reveal, there's no hidden illness to expose, there's no tragic announcement waiting to drop. The real story is about how quickly lies can travel, how deeply they can affect people, and how important it is to slow down, question what we see, and seek the truth before reacting. Rob Reiner remains alive, influential, and active. Michele Singer Reiner remains alive and by his side. The only thing that deserves to be laid to rest is the rumor itself, along with the culture of click-driven sensationalism that allowed it to spread unchecked. In an era where attention often matters more than accuracy, stories like this challenge all of us to do better, to think critically, to verify information, and to remember that behind every famous name is a real person with a real life, not a headline.